Tell us about where we're going.
Yes, this is the winery. You know, it's a bit too big now, but the truth, we start with 3,000 bottles. Today we're making about 300,000.
300,000.
About 100 times more. Yeah, but 13 years ago, we started the winery, only 3,000 bottles. It was for hobby. I never thought that it's going to be like a winery like today.
300,000 bottles now. Amazing. And you're winning international competitions around the world, and incredible things are happening.
Yeah. And you know, when we start, I remember that all the export say winery, wine in Israel, and specifically, especially in your location, it's not going to happen. You're wasting your time. 2004, we sent our wines, our first wine to a wine competition in France, Vinali in Paris, and we got a gold medal.
And this was early on. This is only after you guys were open for about a year.
Some people call it magic, but I really believe that it's such a thing. Because if you ask me, Yaakov, what is the special thing you're doing here? I mean, what's the difference between your winemaking to, I don't know, winemaking in Paris, in France, in Napa Valley, whatever? And the truth, it's not high-tech. I'm not doing anything special. But we believe that we have a blessing here. For 2,000 years, those lands were been empty, with no grapes, actually no body. So this is unbelievable.
Yeah, you're in God's land on the mountains of Israel, and He is blessing your work here at Sukkot Winery, Yaakov. So, man, what do we have here? This is my first time actually touring a winery, so this is exciting.
In the beginning, we have the grapes. You know, we're starting in Israel, the harvest time, it's about August, September. We're getting the grapes, and we start the fermentation process. The fermentation process happens in those stainless steel tanks, okay? It's stainless steel tanks. We can control the temperature, we can control everything, and so this is the beginning.
So what do we have out here?
This is also a stainless steel tanks that we keep the wine only in the fermentation process, and when we want to make the blends, to blend the wine, to make the final type of wine, if we have Cabernet Sauvignon, if you have Merlot, all our wine staying in oak barrels for a year and a half. And let's go and take a look on the barrel room.
It amazes me, Yaakov, that this started for you as a hobby. How did you learn all the technical aspects of how to make wine?
If I will tell you, I need to kill you.
Yeah.
Eric, so, you know, it's...
you can't reveal your secrets.
Exactly. But you're welcome. So welcome to our barrel room.
Wow.
Here we have about 400 barrels. Everything it's oak, made in France. I start with 6 or 7 barrels. Now we have more than 400, yes. And it's here for between a year to a year and a half.
Okay. And 300,000 per year, Yaakov, are going out.
Yeah.
Wow, how amazing is that? So what goes into this? I mean, basically you store the barrels here. You have to have humidity in here as well, and there's certain temperature,
yes.
I guess.
We have certain temperature and humidity and a lot of different stuff. And of course, we're tasting the wine. We see how it develops in the barrels, if there is any problem, if we need to do something. So yes, this is the whole job to know how to treat the wine. Exactly.
Tell me about your team here, Yaakov. How big is your team here at Sukkot Winery?
First of all, we have the harvest. We need the grapes, the material. So in the harvest time, it's unbelievable. But in the last 10 years already, we have a group of Christians from all over the world, mainly from United States, Canada, but from all over the world, and that they're coming to Israel, about 400. They're volunteering. They don't accept from us anything. They say, we don't want, nothing. We come with everything. They supply themselves with everything, and they want only to touch the land, to do something. This is unbelievable. And I must say that I think the most interesting thing in wine that I found out is that wine can connect people together. Because if you think about it, what is the chance that in a winery in Israel, here where we're located some people call it West Bank.
This is illegally occupied.
We will have Christians coming from far away from here. They're leaving everything, they're leaving their job, and they want to participate, they want to touch the land, they want to do something for the land, for Israel, and this is unbelievable. For me, it's every time that I see it, I don't believe that it really exists.
Yeah, this is not by coincidence, and only the God of Israel, Yaakov, to make this happen, and he's using wine to do it. Pretty amazing thing.
I think that if you will ask my parents, not far away, just if they believe that their son are going to own a winery and a vineyard in Israel, they will never believe you. Because I born in Russia, I came to Israel when I was 3 years old. We need to wait 6 years until the Russians, in these days, the KGB let us leave the country.
This was
And we came with
Soviet-
nothing.
the Soviet
Union. We came with nothing. We came with our pants and that's it. We couldn't, take anything from there. So really, if you ask my parents, do you believe that your son, they will never believe. From one side, my grandparents came from the Holocaust, from the other side, from Russia. So, many people asking me, Yaakov, it's not difficult. Is it complicated? Is it, we heard about Israel, and I'm asking, this is complicated? This is difficult? I think we have really the best life that we can ever imagine and ask for.
In your ancestral homeland.
Yes.
Doesn't get much better.
No doubt. The whole idea is to keep the wine, natural and for a long time.
Yeah.
So we put some gas to avoid the oxidant.
Okay.
And we put the wine, we put the cork, and from here depends when, but we can put the labels also, and it will be ready for shipping.
And the guys are working hard here, by the way. We
Yes.
appreciate
Yes,
them
yes, they're
letting us
working hard.
film. They're working hard. They're serious. It's a serious business.
But because it's a boutique winery, so we don't do it every day.
Oh, you don't do it every day?
No, we do it 4, 5, 8 weeks in a year, the bottling, and that's it. So, yes.
So we're coming at a very crucial season
Yes.
for you, for Segot Winery.
Yes.
Wow, and these bottles will go out not only here in Israel, but
No. Mainly our main market, it's United States.
main markets, United States.
Yeah, main market is United States. About 50% of our production is for the United States.
How do you get the word out? We're going to get the word out here on The Watchman. How do you get the word out? How are all these people in the United States discovering your great wines?
First of all, in wine, people looking for something new, for something that never heard about.
Right.
So this is very important part. And second, I think now people want to be connected to Israel. Wine and the Bible. We believe that wine is a very spiritual thing. But we're going to talk about it in the vineyards.
We will. Let's do it. This is a taste of Israel for every American. It's a great thing. Let's go, Yaakov.
This is the vineyard we just pruned this morning. This size, that what you see here, we prune it about 4 tons. 4 tons, it's about, let's say 4,000 bottles, maybe. Give me your hand. Just be careful on your head. We're standing in a cave from the days of the Second Temple. Second Temple, we're talking about more than 2,000 years ago. Our fathers used to make here wine. And it's really funny because I just came back from South Africa, and they make a law in South Africa that every wine from this region must be written on the back label, made in occupied territories. Do you listen? I mean, I can own a winery all over the world, no problem. But if I am a Jew, I came back to my homeland. I'm making wine where my father used to make wine here. So only here, it's forbidden for me. It's occupied territories. However, actually it's interesting because I asked the minister there, tell me please, if I'm going to sell tomorrow morning my winery to you, what's supposed to be written in the back label? He says no. This is then. So it's not a question of a region. It's a question of the owner. But also insisting that you can take a look here and really to understand here we can understand the deep meaning about wine. What's the whole story? The whole story about what, especially in wine grapes, that the roots can go very deep into the land between the rock. You see, this is a rocky land. You saw, we are the vineyard just outside. Those
Those, for example, those are the roots of the vines. Do you see the roots? Then the vines can get the unique, can bring you, the whole idea in quality wine is to bring you the specific land, the specific taste from the land. Here you can understand why. Usually in all the trees, normal tree almost cannot grow on rocky land, on rocks. It's need, land, earth, like need soil. Here we have no soil, only rocks, but the quality comes from that. And this is something very, very deep. If you look in the Bible, many times the Israeli nation named by vines, or many times wine and vines, and in our tradition, wine is very important, and we believe that that's the reason. Wines represent something deep. If you go deep, that the source, the power is in the source, not how it look outside. Sometimes you can see a very, very big tree, but it have almost no roots. If will come a strong wind, it will die. Vines can stay forever. Why? Because the roots are inside. And when your roots are inside, then first of all, it's very quality, and it's very strong. It can stay. It can long for almost forever. And really, when you see it in eyes, you can understand. Let's say it's a sign when the Bible talk about that we come back to our home and we'll plant vineyards. That's the idea of why the Bible is not saying and you will plant tomatoes. Why not? Two reasons. First of all, when you plant a vineyard, it means you came back for a long term, because you need to plant it. It takes 4 years until you get fruit. Then you take it to the winery. You need to wait another 2, 3, 4. So let's say the whole story is more than you do something now, and this is going to be for at least 8 years from now. So that's say that you believe. Tomato, you put it in the land today, and in 2 months, 3 months, you pick it, you eat it. No, here we're talking about the long term. So this is also something that you can really understand and see and when we're talking about vineyards. So, however, we believe that everything together, it's something that give you some understanding about the land and what used to be and what we are trying to do. I remember once I came to visit in Napa Valley. So one guy took me, very nice guy. He owned a big winery, and he took me, says, Yaakov, I must show you something. Okay, so we walk inside the vineyards, and we walk, and then he stood and he said, listen, here, 200 years ago, my grandfather started. I said, I'm sorry, John, can you say it again? He says, yes, here, 200 years ago. He says, if you come to my place, it's 2,000 years ago. And we found it very interesting and very powerful, and it's not they just make wine here, they wrote books. They wrote the whole Talmud. They wrote the whole. I mean, things that I sit down every day, try to do it every day, and to learn a little bit. I open the page, what my sages or people wrote more than 2,500 years ago, 3,000 years ago. It's unbelievable. It's like they wrote it today. So wise, so important, so interesting. So we have a lot. It's not just stories. It's not something. It's for our life. If I want to know how to behave with my workers, if I want to know what is the right thing to do or not to do, how to deal with my children, and you just need to open the books and to have the whole knowledge. Again, 3,000 years ago. It's something interesting. I think that we need to remember that in those days, when we're talking about almost more than 3,000 years ago, the world seems completely different than in our days. The values, the people, what was important, how they behave, slaves, everything, was no far from, let's say, animals. And in order to change the whole world, and to bring to the world the right values and what is important in life and spiritual and believe in God and a lot of, it takes time. And God choose, in his own reason, I don't know why, but he says, if I will give it to everybody, maybe, I don't know, maybe it will fail. So God chose to give it to someone. And of course, the first one was Abraham. And Abraham supposed to give it to his offsprings. And till we will convince the whole world that it's important to each one of us. And I think that really we, in our time, in that time that the whole world almost united, maybe not united, but almost united, we have one language, we speak the same volumes. And that was the idea. That was, I mean, Abraham was the seed, and today we can see the tree. Maybe it's not a very nice and big tree, but it's close to that. And this is the promise to Abraham. The promise is that by the connection to the volumes, through the land, and it's very complicated, and it will take time to understand and to explain why you need a land, what's the point of the land. But the idea of deep understanding and deep meaning must to come with land, with the connection between the Bible says that we've been made from earth. Why? Why the Bible can say that? God say, you know, hocus pocus, just like that, and made man. No, we've been made from earth. So there is a very deep and interesting connection between us between a man to his land. And people that try to cut that connection and say, we don't want go to there. What's the point? No, and again, it's very deep to explain why. But the final thing is that we believe that you can reach everything, and you can have all the deep understanding and the spiritual level, the highest spiritual level, only if you connected to your land and you're sitting on your land, and it's come together. We can see all over the Bible that it's come together. Or in other words, the Bible all the time says, if you are not going to behave or to follow the rules, the punishment is, let's say the punishment is that you will be exiled. Why? It's not that the other land, sometimes the other land where you are exiled, it's much better land, look like a better land or better place or better country than Israel. I mean, to be today, for a lot of people, to be today a Jew in the United States of America, it's better than to be an Israeli in the state of Israel. So why it's exile? It's not, no, but that's the exile. It's a deep meaning. It's not something. It's not only physical thing. No, when you are, so you disconnect. You have a problem. You have a very deep problem inside of you. So how are you going to act with your family and your own people, with the whole world? It's really different. And really, when you stand in Israel, you see it. You see that the people, that they are not connected to the land so much, they don't believe in those promises. They say, you know what, go away, go to there, what's the problem? The Arabs need it, go to give it to them. Those people are not connected to the volumes most of the time. They say, you know, we are like everyone. I mean, it's coming together. Those people, I always say to my friends, do you give charity? How much, you know, those people that they are very nice many times. I'm not saying always, but many times they can be very nice for cats, for dogs, for, I don't know, usually they don't see the neighbors, you know, that live next to them. If, I don't know, if their brother in a big trouble, they're not going to give everything to him. No, I'm sorry, that's my money, I made it, I have a lot what to do that. I give you, you know, just, but so you can see many times that the people that connected to the land, they connected to values. They like their brothers. They like the whole world. They see someone in a problem, they will give him everything that they have, everything. Why? Because God bless me. I'm going to bless you. I don't. It's not mine. Israel, by the Hebrew meaning of Israel, it's two words. The Bible says that Jacob fight when he fight against the angel, yeah, then God changed his name to Israel. In Hebrew, it's like fight, Isra, it's Isra, and El it's God. Isra it's like a fight against God. So, in other words, we believe that the connection, that the special connection of the Israel nation with God, it's to follow God's rules, but also God look on his own nation, and when the nation do something, God participate in those. I mean, it's like two sides. It's going back and forward. It's not only one side that God give and you take. No, we also do, and so we believe that it's like a relationship between, let's say, a man and a woman, maybe, or between the son and, I mean, maybe someone is the more powerful, give and you get, but also let's say the relationship between men in the Bible, you can see it a lot, many times. King Solomon talk about it a lot, that the men, I'm not talking about now about
Abusive.
but I'm talking about the deep meaning. You know, in the deep meaning, the men give and the women get. But we know that the women also give. It's you get, but if you know how to get it, you actually you give a lot. It's both sides. It's not one side, and it's not. For example, King Solomon talk about the relationship between Israel and God, like God is the man and Israel is the woman, and the man looking for the woman all the time, and she's run away, and you know those. So it's something very, very interesting, and that's, I think that's the name of Israel also come from that it means that we have also obligation to do something, and we are part of those relationships. Moses gave us the Bible, the Torah, and this is everything, and the fact that you can sit and I can sit, you can sit every day and to read the Bible, and it's unbelievable. It's like maybe the Bible talk in the words of those days, words of slaves and a monkey and donkey, and then but if you know how to read it, it's like it's written in nowadays. It's the deep meaning, the magnificent, how you can learn it, how every word, every specific word come with a purpose if you know how to learn it. It's not just a story. In nowadays, you read the book, it's a story, you know. In the Bible, every word, if you know how to look at that, it's so deep. It's unbelievable. I read it, and I feel that it's human being cannot write it. I'm talking about not the belief, the physical words. I mean, if you it's like a science. No one can write such a book that you read here and there and there, and everything come together, and it's so clever. It takes us years until we can see the whole picture and to take. So I think Moses gave it to us, and of course the beginning was the Exodus, and again to move people to that direction, that people will start to do something that it takes time. It's not easy. So you need something, I think, big like the Exodus, that people will start to believe. We always saying, there is a very popular joke in Israel that we don't understand Moses. You walk 40 years in the desert, 40 years from Egypt to Israel. It's supposed to take 3-4 days. And you got to Israel. In the 40 years, you can go to New Zealand, and then you will have quiet. Why to Israel? So actually, we don't know the answer. But of course, we know that the reason they sin, but I think that in the deep way, when you go to your land, it takes time. You need to suffer. Don't think you can get it very easy. Something that you get very easy, you're going to lose very easy. So it took to Moses to walk, that's supposed to be 3-4 days. No, 40 years. Until you understand the magnificence of the land. So you're right, because many times people say, well, I mean, but it's only rocks, what's so special here? In order to understand why it's so special, you need 40 years. and again, it's not for a couple minutes to understand. Okay, Yaakov, you told me that this is very deep. You told me that this is very holy. What it means? How rocks, how can be powerful, how they can act, how they can. But we believe in those strange things. Yes, we believe that a place can be very powerful. But you know what? Don't ask me. Ask President Obama, or ask the whole world. Why Israel always, almost every day, it's in the front page of every newspaper all around the world? Does it make sense politically? Does it make politically? You know what? If Yaakov Berg, tomorrow morning, I will take a caravan and I put it here in front of my vineyard, I promise you, the president himself, and maybe not the president himself, let's say, I don't know, someone in United States will pick up the phone, will call Bibi Netanyahu, our prime minister, and says, Prime Minister Netanyahu, what's going on? I heard that some guy in Psagot took a caravan and put it, and it's illegal. Do you believe that? I mean, I can do that in New York City, no one will talk to me. President Obama will never know. But if I will do it here in such a hole in the Middle East, in such a desert, the president of the world will know about it. I'm sure. I mean, maybe he's not himself, but it we can be a problem in the whole world. Why you don't? Doesn't make any sense. And I believe because everybody understands also that they're dealing with something important, that they're touching something that everybody wants to do that. I don't think they can explain it in a reasonable way. You know what? I tried to buy half of Jerusalem owned by the churches. You know, the Greek church, for many years. Now, try to buy 1 acre from those churches. You will never do that. If I will go to buy from you in New York City, an acre that owned by the I don't know who, if I pay enough, everybody will sell it to me. No one say, no, it's holy, I'm sorry, I'm not going to sell it, it's special. No, how much are you going to pay? Okay, I want double, give it to me. No, here, can you explain that? Why? It's only a land. Why you don't sell? Because I really believe that everybody wants to be connected. Everybody understands that this is give you something more than just stones. And there is a deep explanation for that, but I cannot explain it really in a few words. It's when it started, I didn't know. I know nothing about it. And then I started to read the Bible. I started to read Hosea, and I was shocked. I says, wait a minute. I read those scriptures. I never understood. And then you see it's all over. It's written all over, again and again and again. Not once in something. Not the whole story of the Messiah in the Bible. It's not clear. It's written in 2 or 3 scriptures, very, very not clear scriptures. Let's say it like that. But it's written very clearly, over and over again, that the whole world will come to participate, and all the people from all over the world will do that. I mean, Hosea says 3 things: the people of Israel will come back to their homeland, the land. Like you can see here, came back to us. I born in Russia. I came back to my homeland. The land, it used to be a desert here. Here, go check all around. Before we came here, it was a real desert. Everybody say it's impossible to do something here. When the Arabs used to be, I don't know, at almost 1,000 years, they grow nothing. Maybe, I don't know, nothing. So the land will come back to us, and the third thing, that the whole world will come to participate. And we can see it, it's unbelievable, we see it in our eyes. It's not stories. It doesn't make any sense. Why is someone from Tennessee, someone from, I don't know where, we have people who are coming from Canada, why care? He has his own family, he has his own church. Why? What's the reason? But everybody understands, people feel that they want something in their life. They understand that just to live the life and to have nice home and big car, it's not enough. We're looking for something more. We want to do something in the history. We want to touch. We want, and I believe that. But this is what's interesting here. When you follow, you try to do what God asks you to do, it's not like the army. You get an order, you do that, you suffer, that's it. No, God created the world that if you following what God asked you to do, you became prophet from that. I mean, it changed you, and you feel inside like a rich man. It gave you more than, let's say, you gave God. It's sometimes, it's like in charity. If you really know to give charity, you know that in the beginning to give, it's very hard. I work very hard for this money. I mean, it's hard. Why I need to give it? I have a very nice life. I can buy everything, but actually, your happiness, the most important thing, you cannot buy. You can buy a very nice car and to go all over the world and to do everything, but many times inside, you cannot buy your happiness. And many times when you give, and you really give to someone that need, and you help him and you save his life, you feel inside like that was the best. It's the best. It's the best time in my life that I gave something. And I think it's the same thing in everything. When you do a lot of people asking us, do you suffer? I mean, you suffer. It's so hard. And I said, listen, I'm sorry to say, I think you're suffering. I think it was 2 months ago, a couple months ago, I came for visit the managers from the HEB, the big channel in Texas. And it's appeared that they're Christians and they very like Israel, and so they came here. They asked me. They came very late at night, and they say, we heard about the cave. We want to take a look. We came here. It was midnight, I think. Americans are not coming to visit you in midnight. It was midnight. First time they came here. Very polite people. No, they say they came here. They go through that room with my kids. They kiss my kids. Really, I'm telling you about. They came, and I heard one of them. It was a woman. She says to her friend, really the managers of the channel. She told him, listen, I will, if I can, I will switch with this guy. I heard she tried to say it very quiet, but I thought to myself, I'm sure that you have back home in the United States, very nice house and everything, but she's, and she felt it. She felt inside that this is something that you cannot buy with money sometimes. It's something that when you stand and when you feel it, and so we're really happy, and we really think that I cannot think about someone that I will switch with. I don't have any idea.
When was the last time you were surprised and impressed by a bottle of wine? Do you know the feeling when you taste a new vintage of your favorite wine and it's just as good as previous years? Hi, my name is Amichai Luria, and I'm Shiloh Winery's winemaker. In the past 10 years at Shiloh Winery, we've been consistently making great award-winning wines with a lot of passion. I've noticed that people are searching for quality, consistency, and also to be surprised as well. Come find out how the legend is made. Let me tell you the secret behind the secret reserve. I want to invite you inside the world of Shiloh Winery. Experience the great challenge of growing grapes, making special and unique wines from one of the most ancient terroirs in the world. Welcome to Shiloh Winery. Shiloh Winery, we make around 70,000 bottles a year. Most of the wine that we make here are from grapes that grow around here. I think you were around here and you saw the vineyards, the mountains and mountains full of vineyards. It's also one of the most ancient places in the world for growing grapes and making wine. You can see ancient wine presses. And it goes all the way back to the Bible time, speaking about here where we grew grapes. Also, I can say it's prophecies coming true, because prophecy said that after, when the time comes, we will come back to these mountains here and plant our grapes and start living here again. And that's what we're doing here. We export our wine all around the world, from Canada, United States, Mexico, England, Australia, South Africa lately also. I'll tell you a little bit about the process of making wine. We make wine today the same way people have been making wine for thousands of years. Basically, there's nothing new about making wine. You have to take grapes that are grapes for wine and not regular eating grapes. The big difference is that they're much, much sweeter. Just to give you an example, regular eating grapes, you have 50, 60 grams of natural sugar per liter of grapes. For wine grapes, you have 250, 260 grams. It's like a quarter of the must is natural sugar. That natural sugar ferments and turns into alcohol. We take the grapes, we destem them with this machine over here. You saw the stems outside because we did it today also. We harvest the grapes very early in the morning. The grapes come here, they get destemmed. Each grape gets a little, I'd say a little kvetch. Kvetch is English, okay? A little press, okay? And to break the grapes, and from them they go into these, from there it goes into these big tanks to ferment. What's the fermentation? Natural yeast breaks down the sugar that's in the must and turns it into alcohol. The more sugar you have, the more alcohol you have at the end. It's a little bit like baking bread. You take sugar, water, yeast, and flour, you mix it together, you have a chunk of dough. You come back an hour later, what do you see? The dough rises like this. What happened? The natural yeast breaks down the sugar. One of the byproducts is CO2, that here it evaporates into the atmosphere. In the bread, it has nowhere to go, so it rises, right, in the dough. And if you put your hand on a dough that's rising, it gets warm. So that is why also here, when the tanks ferment, I have to have temperature control. I have to control it and cool it down, because if I won't, then it'll overheat. That's why each tank is temperature controlled. Years ago, what did they do? They made wine in relatively cold places, like here. That's a very cold place in Israel. And they also usually did it underground, where it's even colder, in small amounts. And that's how they made wine. We're not smarter today than what they were years ago. Fermentation are in these tanks. When the fermentation is over, the fermentation is with the skins together. For example, if you take a bunch of grapes, the darkest, blackest purple grape that you have, and you squeeze it, the color of the juice will be anywhere between clear to a light pink or a light green. And he's also been here from very early in the morning. And so where does the red wine get its color from? From fermenting together with the skins. The skins give us color and flavor and aroma and tannins and a lot of good stuff. And after the fermentation is over, basically it happens, it's something natural that happens. The yeast breaks down the sugar, no more sugar. The yeast die, fall down to the bottom. And then we have to separate the wine from the skins. That's what we use this machine over here. It's a very gentle machine that very gently presses the skins to the side, and all the wine comes out to the bottom. And from here, we put it into tanks for a couple of days and then into barrels. Come, let's go to...
At the right time.
Yeah. אל תשכח לנעול את הסככה. I spray sulfur on the barrels so it won't get moldy. Moldy?
Okay.
It's not there. There's nothing wrong with having mold on the outside of the barrel. There are vineyards that you'll go and you'll see a thick layer of mold. I don't like it. It's not aesthetic in my eyes. Okay, and also I don't like the smell of the mold. But see, every now and then I get a little bit of mold. You see, well, clean it off every now and then, and all our wine is aged in barrels. We aim as high as we can. We try to make the best wine we can. I think the most challenging part of making wine is blending. What do I mean? During harvest time, we harvest a lot of different kinds of grapes: Cabernet Sauvignon and Merlot, Shiraz, Petit Syrah, Petit Verdot, Cabernet Franc, Chardonnay, Viognier, Sauvignon Blanc. A lot of different kinds of grapes we harvest. Even if I harvest the exact same Cabernet from one side of the mountain, for sure will come out different than the Cabernet from the other side of the mountain. Or a Cabernet that I harvest at the beginning of September or at the end of September, for sure it will be different because it grew differently. But even if I take the exact same Cabernet that was harvested on a certain day, fermented in its own tank, and pressed together, and everything went the whole way by itself, and then I put it to age in barrels. Even if I put it in the exact same barrels, you come back a couple of months later to taste it, you'll see one developed one way and the other one developed a different way. So could you imagine if I have here around 350 barrels, different kinds of barrels, different kinds of grapes, different dates of harvesting, different temperature of fermentation. So I have like 350 different kinds of things. And the idea is to blend them together to try and make the best wines that we can. We want to have a variety of different kinds of wine because I'm not sure that the wine that you like is the same wine that somebody else likes. So I have to make different kinds of wines. Blending is the most challenging part of making wine. What I do is a couple of times over the process of a little bit over a year and a half that it's aged in barrels, for example, I'll decide that now this week I'm tasting all the barrels and blending them. So I'll decide that today I'm tasting the 80 barrels of Merlot. So I'll spread out a long white table over here, take out about a liter and a half out of each barrel, put a glass in front of each one, a piece of paper, and I'll taste 80 samples. I'll write a few words. I'll say a little bit about what its color, the flavors, aromas, what it has too much of, what it lacks. I'll also give it, let's say, a 1 to 10. So theoretically, if I want to make the best Merlot that we have, our Merlot Reserve, okay, Secret Reserve, everyone that got a 9 or a 10 should mix them all together. We'll give you the best wine there is. But it doesn't work that way because a lot of 10s together don't give you a 10. It's like saying, you know, you want to cook something that'll taste good. So honey tastes good. So I'll take, let's say, a glass of honey. Now pepper also is good. So I'll take a glass of pepper. Chicken is good. I'll take a glass of chicken. I'll take a glass of salt. I'll mix it all. All the ingredients are very good. But if you mix them all together, you'll get something that isn't so good. Same thing more or less is here. You have to try and decide which barrels go with which. And it takes a lot of tasting and mixing and deciding and again. And we do this over almost 2 years of making the wine. From harvest to bottling is a little bit less than 2 years. We do this a couple of times. And till we reach the end where we're ready to bottle the wine. The process of making wine, we harvest from August till November. We bottle the July after. So it's a little bit less than 2 years, but the beginning is in stainless steel, all fermentation. At the end, we do stabilization a couple of weeks before bottling and also blending, and it stays in stainless steel, and from there we bottle. So it's a little bit over a year and a half in barrels. Fermentation takes anywhere between a week to a month and a half. Depends on a lot of different things.
How do you stay
Like, so I tell you, people ask me, you drink a lot of wine? I said, I don't know if I drink a lot of wine, but I spit a lot of wine. So on days like that, I'll sip and spit and sip and spit. Like, I'll spit like 3 buckets of wine on a day of blending like that. And I had some guy that came here to, he said, I want to be here while you do the blending. Okay, it's just a long day, you know. I start early in the morning. It's a good 10, 12 hours of tasting and blending till you decide what you're going to do. And he filmed it. I was just smelling and tasting and spitting and smelling and tasting and spitting. I was going on. It's a long white table, the whole thing. I'm going back and forth and mixing and then when he showed it to me, he showed it to me on a fast forward. So you see me doing really funny. Why did I choose wine and why did we choose this area? Wine I choose personally to be a winemaker because I love wine. And I think it's something special and different. I'll explain to you why. It's something that takes a lot of patience. Because when you finally, after so many years, come back to live where you're supposed to, back to your country, you can look at it 2 ways. You can say, I want everything now and fast. Do something, exit, and leave. Or you want to connect. And if you really want to connect, you have to do something that has to do with the land itself. And it's even better than growing apples, okay? Because here it's even it's a very long process. You need, you have to believe in what you're doing. Because if you've planted grapes, vines, and you have to wait a couple of years till you can start harvesting. Even after you harvest, you don't eat it and you're done with it. You have to make the wine. Well, our wines over the years have won many awards and got good reports from different wine critics around in Israel and around the world. Last year, there is one main Israeli wine contest. It's called the Golden Cluster. Almost everybody sends their wines to compete there. Last year, we did what no winery has ever done before. 3 of our wines, the Merlot, the Shiraz, and the Cabernet, all won the best in the country. So we won the gold medal, the best Cabernet, best Merlot, and best Shiraz. Thank God we're consistent over the years, and this year we won the award for the best Merlot and for the best blend. So we hope to continue.
So these wines, you said everybody competes. Is it
Almost
all over
everybody,
the
yeah.
world?
No, it's all Israeli.
Israel.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's an Israeli contest with Israeli wines.
What about international contests?
We sent it to different wine competitions. I don't even remember the names of them. We've won different awards over the years, and also gotten good reports from wine critics. Okay, part of being Jewish is drinking wine. It starts when you're 8 days old. It goes through every Shabbat, the beginning and the end. When you get married, and all around everything you do, there's so many aspects that you have to have wine to be Jewish, or you have to be Jewish to have wine, or I don't know.